3 days after the typhoon, Alec Rhodes finally reached out to me. He sent a short message, "Come pick me up at Tessa's place." In the past, whenever he called, I would drop everything and go to him without hesitation. But this time, I was in the middle of making porridge, and I simply replied, "Take a cab home." Half an hour later, Alec walked through the front door, dragging his suitcase behind him and wearing a scowl. "I have not even been home yet, and you are sitting here, having a meal," he snapped. I paused with the spoon halfway to my mouth and looked at him, confused by his tone. He yanked off his jacket, clearly irritated. "Stop eating. Go wash the clothes in my suitcase." He pointed toward it and added, "The power went out at Tessa's house yesterday because of the typhoon. I have not even taken a shower." He was already heading toward the bathroom when I said calmly, "I do not have time. Put them in the washer yourself." He stopped in his tracks, turned around, and stared at me with clear frustration. "Erin Clark," he said sternly, "are you done with your little tantrum? It was dangerous during the storm, and you came so late. That is why I stayed at Tessa's place. Do you seriously think your jealousy is more important than my safety?" I quietly swallowed my last spoonful of porridge, picked up the bowl, and carried it to the kitchen. I had no intention of arguing, but Alec stood there, watching me, as if trying to figure something out. After a moment, he spoke again, now with a tone that suggested he was trying to justify himself. "You are still upset about that social media post, aren't you? I already told you, it was just a joke," he went on. "Tessa's friends were teasing her about being single. She posted that just to save face. It caused some confusion. But when she saw you liked the post, she panicked and deleted it. She even asked me to explain." Then, with a slightly mocking tone, he added, "You are not getting any younger, Erin. Why are you still fussing over things like this with a girl like her?" I almost laughed. Tessa Brooks was 28, hardly a child. I was only 1 year older. Yet somehow he made it sound like I was decades past my prime. Not wanting to waste any more breath, I washed the dishes and said evenly, "I really do not have time to wash your clothes. I need to head out." Alec looked genuinely surprised. Normally, I would have at least argued with him a little, but today, I remained completely calm. His expression shifted. Just as I stepped out of the living room, he suddenly leaned in and kissed me. "There," he said with smug satisfaction. "Now you can stop being mad." He gave me a sideways glance, as if confident he still had complete control over my emotions, but I instinctively pushed him away. The gesture made my stomach turn. Alec had never acted like this before. Even when he was in the wrong, he never tried to win me over with affection. He would not even pretend to apologize. So why now? Because of Tessa, no doubt. He must have realized that whatever was going to happen between them had already happened over the past 3 days. I casually wiped my face and went to the entryway to put on my shoes. Alec stared at me in disbelief. "Erin, what is that supposed to mean? Are you disgusted by me?" "No," I replied without emotion. "I just like things clean." He looked like he was about to explode, but before he could speak, my phone rang. The rideshare I had ordered had arrived downstairs. Seeing me ready to leave, Alec suddenly reached out and grabbed my wrist, his expression a strange mix of panic and confusion. "Where are you going?" he asked. "To the office," I replied. He let out a breath, then said stiffly, "Cancel the ride, I will take you." The car he was offering to drive was the one I had gifted him, yet he almost never let me ride in it. This sudden display of consideration was so unlike him that I instinctively wanted to refuse. Before I could respond, he had already picked up the keys and walked out ahead of me, completely in character, forceful and domineering. Left with little choice, I cancelled the ride and followed him downstairs. As soon as I got into the passenger seat, my eyes landed on something unexpected. A small cartoon sticker on the dashboard read "Reserved for Girlfriend." Alec was known for being neat and minimalistic. He hated unnecessary decorations in his car. The fact that this was there said enough about who had put it up. He glanced sideways at me, clearly waiting for a reaction. In the past, when I noticed things like this, traces of Tessa, I would ask him about them, only to be met with scolding or deflection. But this time, I said nothing at all. 10 minutes later, Alec suddenly slapped the steering wheel in frustration and snapped at me. "Are you mute or something? If you have questions, just ask." I looked at him, puzzled. I do not have anything I want to ask." His anger seemed to choke itself out halfway. He sat there for a while, his expression stiff, before finally muttering, "That sticker was Tessa's idea. I figured I was going to wash the car soon anyway, so I did not bother to stop her." He added quickly, "There is nothing going on between us. Stop acting so jealous over nothing." I gave a small nod and simply replied, "All right." The truth was, I really no longer cared what happened between the two of them. Alec glanced at me and continued, almost as if he was trying to explain himself, "During the typhoon, I stayed at her place because I was worried about you being out on the road. Tessa is still young and was alone. I thought it would be good for me to stay and keep her company." He paused, then added, "But I have always seen her as a younger sister. There is nothing more to it. You should not overthink it." I nodded with a gentle smile. "You two are like siblings. I understand. I trust you." In the past, I would have flown into a jealous rage. Alec would always soothe me with those same words. Now I was simply repeating them back. Alec's face darkened. He suddenly glared at me and shouted, "What is with your sarcastic tone? I have explained everything. What more do you want? Are you trying to push me too far?" I sighed. "No, really, I do not think you did anything wrong." But before I could finish, Alec slammed on the brakes and shouted, "Get out." I stared at him, bewildered, still confused. I opened the door and stepped out of the car. I had only walked a few steps when I heard him calling my name behind me. I did not turn around. Instead, I quickened my pace. I truly did not understand what had triggered his outburst. If I minded his closeness with Tessa, I was accused of being petty and jealous. If I agreed with him, he still blew up. He was impossible to please. The office was still about a kilometer away, so I decided to walk the rest of the way. Today, I had come mainly to hand in my resignation. I had stayed in this city and taken this job only because of Alec. I had turned down the opportunity to inherit my family's business. Even cutting ties with my parents to stay here with him. That was until 3 days ago, when the typhoon hit. I had gone out in the storm to pick Alec up, only for him to bail on me halfway without a word. On my way back, strong winds howled around me, and I was struck in the shoulder by falling debris. That night, I could not sleep from the pain. Then I saw Tessa's latest post on social media. That was the moment I realized it was time to let go. My body ached, and my spirit felt crushed. And then, out of the blue, my parents called. "Erin," my mother said gently, "we saw the news about the storm. Please do not go outside. Stay safe." Hearing her voice, warm and full of worry, broke something in me. All the sadness and frustration I had been holding in came pouring out, and I could barely speak through my tears. The love I had held on to for so long, it had turned out to be nothing but a joke. I told them I would come home and agreed to take back my place in the family business. I even booked a flight for the day after tomorrow. As for Alec and me, it was time to end things. When I arrived at the office, I went straight to my manager, Chen Qing, and handed in my resignation. To my surprise, she did not look shocked at all. In fact, she looked rather serious as she tried to talk me out of it. "Erin, couples fight all the time. Just give it a few days and talk it out. Are you not afraid Alec might never forgive you if you keep pushing like this?" That was when I realized Alec had already called her in advance. "He told me to let you know," she said carefully. "He has blocked you and will not be coming home tonight. He wants you to reflect on things." It hit me then. He had made our private argument into a public message, something he had never done before. In the past, I would have been terrified of losing him. I would have swallowed my pride and run to him to make peace. But this time, all I felt was how childish it all was. I explained that we had already broken up, and that my resignation was not a rash decision. I had thought it through carefully. Still, Chen Qing seemed doubtful. "You have loved Alec for so many years. Are you really ready to walk away?" I nodded without hesitation. Only then did she sigh and begin processing the paperwork. When I got back home, I expected the place to be empty. But instead, I saw Alec standing in the living room. He was wearing a brand new suit and standing in front of Tessa, showing it off with a charming smile. "Tessa," he asked, "how do I look?" Tessa's eyes sparkled as she twirled beside him like an adoring fan. "You look amazing, Alec. When I grow up, I want to marry someone just like you." As I passed by, Alec cast a quick glance in my direction before walking straight up to Tessa. His voice, low and magnetic, carried clearly through the room. Alec said, "Tessa, can you take a look at my tie? Something seems off." Tessa gave me a smug glance before answering with a mock hesitation. "Senior, this might not be appropriate. Shouldn't you ask your wife instead?" Alec let out a cold snort. "Wife? What wife? There is no wife." With that, he turned to Tessa and, right in front of me, let her adjust his tie. Then he wrapped an arm around her shoulders and strolled out the front door with her. I knew he was doing it to provoke me. If this had happened before, I probably would have lost my temper and tried to stop him. But now, strangely, I felt nothing, just an odd sense of calm. In the middle of the night, I was suddenly woken by the sharp ring of my phone. It was Sun Cheong, one of Alec's buddies. His voice was urgent. "Erin, Alec is drunk. You need to come pick him up from Emperor KTV." He sent a photo along with the message. In the picture, Alec was slumped in Tessa's arms, one arm wrapped affectionately around her neck. His friends had never liked me much. They always said I was too serious, too plain, lacking any excitement. Some of them had even started shipping Alec and Tessa together, wishing out loud that they would end up as a couple. That was why it shocked me that Sun Cheong would bother calling me at all. Before I could process it, I heard the sound of glass breaking in the background, followed by Alec shouting drunkenly. Alec's voice was loud and slurred. "Do not call her. I do not need that woman taking care of me. I am spending the night at Tessa's." Then Sun Cheong hurriedly cut in. "Erin, if you do not get here soon, Alec is going home with Tessa." I let out a long yawn. Perfect. Tessa is very good at handling people like him. With that, I hung up and went back to sleep. I did not know how much time passed before I heard the front door creak open. Moments later, the bedroom door burst wide. Alec stormed in, his face clouded with anger. He pointed a finger at me and snapped, "Erin, why did you not come for me? Do you not care if something happens between me and Tessa?" Still groggy, I rubbed my eyes and sat up slowly, trying to collect my thoughts. I remembered the times he used to stay out all night, ignoring my calls. I would run around looking for him, only to finally find him in some bar, where he would scold me in front of all his friends. I could still recall the mocking stares of his buddies as he shouted at me, "Erin, why are you so controlling? I need space too." But now, when I stayed out of his way, he came back demanding answers. I truly could not understand him. After a moment of silence, I replied calmly, "You are a grown man. I trust that you know your boundaries. Besides, you are entitled to your own life and your own choices." My steady tone seemed to catch him off guard. He stared at me for a long while, his expression unreadable. Then, with a sly smile tugging at his lips, he said softly, "You sure you are not jealous?" He hesitated, then added, "That photo Sun Cheong sent, I just lost my balance and accidentally leaned on Tessa." I yawned again and glanced at the clock. It was already 2 in the morning. Alec continued, "If it really bothers you, maybe next time I drink, I can take you with me." When I stayed silent, he paused, then spoke more sharply, "Do you really want me to stop seeing Tessa altogether? Is that what you want?" I shook my head. "That is not what I meant. I believe you two are just friends." I yawned again and sighed. "I am really tired. Can we talk about this tomorrow?" His face darkened with frustration. There was confusion in his eyes, as though he no longer understood me. Suddenly, he stepped forward, shrugged off his jacket, and climbed into bed beside me. Wrapping his arms tightly around me, he muttered, "Erin, what is going on with you? Is it because I have been ignoring you these past few days?" He kissed my neck and whispered, "Then let me make it up to you, right now." His hands began to roam. In the past, when Alec took the initiative like this, I would blush and quietly let it happen. But tonight, I stopped him. "Sorry, I am exhausted. I am just not in the mood." His expression froze. The next second, his face twisted with anger. "You do not know how lucky you are," he snapped. Then he threw the door open and stormed out into the night. I heard the front door open and close. It seemed Alec had left the house. In the past, whenever he lost his temper, I would have chased after him, coaxing and apologizing just to calm him down. But now, I simply turned off the light, lay back down, and went straight to sleep. Wherever Alec went, it was no longer my concern. I knew he would be fine. The next morning, when I woke up, he still had not returned. Tomorrow, I would be heading home. I had just finished packing my suitcase when my best friend, Wendy, called to tell me she was organizing a farewell dinner for me. Back when I was dating Alec, he never allowed me to go out with friends, and he especially disliked Wendy. He had a way of controlling everything I did, and over the years, I had barely seen the girls. But now that I was leaving, I wanted to spend time with them properly, to say goodbye the way I wanted. I checked into the hotel and then headed downstairs to the private dining room where the girls were already gathered. Most of the faces were familiar. We had known each other for years. The only unfamiliar one was a young man in his early 20s. Wendy smiled as she introduced him. "This is Brian, my junior from university. He is moving back to Rivertown too, just like you. You two are from the same hometown, so I figured it would be good for you to connect." Everyone started teasing me, encouraging me to add the handsome newcomer on social media. I laughed and held out my phone, scanning his code without hesitation. But just as I clicked to add him, I heard Alec's voice roar from behind me, full of rage. "Erin." Startled, I turned around. Alec was walking into the room, with Tessa right behind him. He strode up to me, his eyes flashing with anger, then turned sharply to face Brian and announced in a harsh voice, "Sorry, but Erin is my girlfriend. I do not allow her to exchange contact information with other men." Brian glanced at me, clearly taken aback. He had not even spoken yet when I calmly pressed add on the screen. The moment the confirmation disappeared, Alec's face turned a stormy shade of dark. He did not yell again, but the way he looked at me, it was like he wanted to tear me apart with his eyes. The atmosphere in the room froze. Just then, Tessa stepped forward, trying to ease the tension with her usual sugary tone. "Erin, I spent the whole night comforting Alec. Please do not upset him again." She gave me a pointed look and added, "We just happened to see you on our way from dinner. He rushed over right away. He still cares about you. How could you add another guy? That is not very ladylike, is it?" Alec's jaw tightened as he continued to glare at me. Tessa, of course, kept going, pretending to be the peacemaker. "Erin, if you are uncomfortable with me being here, I can leave right now. I do not want to come between you and Alec." She had always played this same game, stirring up trouble while acting innocent. I used to fall for it, arguing with her and getting upset. Alec would always take her side, no matter what, but not tonight. Tonight, I just watched her like I was watching a bad actor in a cheap drama. I said casually, "Of course not. You are already here. Have a seat." I waved the others to sit down too and then took the seat right next to Brian. 2 empty seats remained. Alec stood there with a grim face, his stare fixed on me. I knew what he wanted. He expected me to move and sit by him, but I acted as if I had not noticed, pouring drinks for the others like nothing had happened. After serving everyone around, Alec finally lost his patience. He said in a low, tense voice, "Erin, come outside with me. I need to talk to you." I knew Alec did not want to cause a scene in front of everyone. It would be too embarrassing for him. But I had no intention of playing along. I replied calmly, "If you have something to say it here." His expression grew even darker. The pressure in the room thickened. He started striding toward me, clearly about to grab my arm. But before he could, Wendy stood up quickly and stepped between us. She said firmly, "Alec, enough. We have all seen everything Erin has been through over the years. You and she have weathered so much together. I always thought you two would make it to the end." She let out a sigh, raising her glass. "Erin stayed in this city for you, even after falling out with her family, and now you have broken up. No matter what the reasons were, she is leaving tomorrow. You should part on good terms." Then she looked around at everyone and added with a gentle smile, "Since you and your new girlfriend are here tonight too, why not sit down and have a drink with us? Let us give Erin a proper farewell." One by one, the girls stood up, raising their glasses and offering me words of goodbye. I smiled, took my glass, and finished it in one gulp. I had just opened my mouth to respond, when Alec suddenly lost his grip and knocked over his glass, as if he had just heard something too shocking to believe. His eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at me and asked, "Erin, you are going back to River City. Why did you not tell me?" Then his voice grew sharper with emotion. "I am your boyfriend. Why am I the last one to know?" Do I even matter to you at all? Gone was Alex's usual calm and polished demeanor. He was clearly agitated, almost desperate, as he confronted me in front of everyone. For a moment, I felt disoriented. Was he truly afraid I would leave? In this relationship, Alec had always held the upper hand, always in control. I never imagined there would come a day when he would lose his composure because of me. But I quickly realized the truth. To him, I was a pet he could play with and control at will. The fact that I was walking away must have shaken that sense of power. I looked at him quietly and replied, "You blocked me. How was I supposed to tell you?" Alec's face tightened. He quickly tried to justify himself, saying, "But even if you could not reach me, you could have contacted one of my friends. You deliberately kept this from me. I have already been patient enough with you. Who gave you the right to break up with me without saying a word and just leave like that?" That accusation left me momentarily speechless. His twisted logic was nothing new to me, but it still caught me off guard. The others around the table looked uncomfortable and exchanged uneasy glances. Unsure how to step in, I offered a quiet apology to everyone present, then looked past Alec and addressed Tessa directly. "Please take your boyfriend outside." Tessa froze, clearly not expecting that reaction from me. When she did not move, I asked again, this time more firmly, "Do you want me to call security?" Alec, now feeling humiliated and ignored, stormed out of the room in a fury. Tessa followed quickly after him. I walked over and calmly closed the door, then turned to the group with a light-hearted smile. "Well, now it is quiet again. Let us keep drinking." Wang Qian looked at me with concern and whispered, "Did you really break up?" I nodded. She hesitated, as if unsure whether to continue. Then she said, "Honestly, when you first got together with Alec, I always felt like something was not right. He is too controlling, too arrogant. Maybe it is a good thing you broke up. You are the only daughter of a wealthy family in River City. You grew up with everything. You even have family-owned mines. But you left all of that behind and lived through years of hardship here, just for him. Now it is time to go back and enjoy life. There are plenty of young men out there waiting for someone like you." I knew she was trying to comfort me. Everyone close to me had witnessed how much I had sacrificed for Alec over the years. A sudden breakup followed by a move back home. Anyone would assume I had suffered deeply and could not recover, but I was the only one who knew the truth. A broken heart does not happen overnight. The time he spent at Tessa's place during the typhoon was just the final straw. Over the past 5 years, Alec had hurt me countless times. Sometimes he would spend my birthday with Tessa, other times he would bring her along on our dates, and those were just the obvious slights. There were many more. I had compromised again and again, trying to soothe myself, trying to forgive, but everything has a limit, and once that limit is crossed, leaving becomes the only choice. That night, my girlfriends kept me company, and we drank quite a bit. Brian, our sweet junior from school, kindly kept pouring us water and checking on us. The girls teased him a little, and the mood lightened. When it was time to leave, I decided to step outside and buy a bottle of water, but as I exited the hotel, I saw Alec sitting on a stone bench by the entrance, smoking. The moment he saw me, he stubbed out the cigarette and rushed over. His voice was tense and filled with barely restrained anger. "Why did you not come out to find me? This is the second time you have done this," I replied calmly. "Your girlfriend already went after you." At the word girlfriend, his expression turned even more agitated. He snapped, "You are just jealous, admit it. You are jealous and will not say it. There is nothing going on between me and Tessa, nothing at all. How many times do I have to tell you before you believe me? She came out earlier and I sent her away." His raised voice started drawing attention from nearby pedestrians. I grabbed his arm and led him to a quieter corner. "Calm down, Alec. What is done is done. We have already broken up. I do not care if it is Tessa Brooks or Tessa Morgan you are with. None of it concerns me anymore." Alec stared at me, stunned, like he was hearing the words for the first time. After a long silence, he finally asked, his voice shaking, "So you are really breaking up with me?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. That simple word seemed to cause him more pain than I expected. He stood in silence for a while, then asked in a hoarse voice, "When is your flight?" "Tomorrow." "Cancel it. Come home with me first. Let us talk this through, please." Alec grabbed my hand. trying hard to keep his emotions in check, but I shook my head and said softly, "No, I have already moved my things out." He froze, stunned. He clearly had not expected that in just one day. I had made up my mind and acted on it without hesitation. He opened his mouth to say something, but his phone rang before he could get a word out. The moment he answered, I heard Tessa's familiar, pitiful voice on the other end. "Senior, I was in a car accident. Can you come? I am at the city hospital. I am really scared." The moment she mentioned the accident, Alec's expression changed. Panic flickered in his eyes. I stood there, feeling a bitter kind of clarity. If she was really hurt, how could she still manage to speak in that soft, delicate tone? But of course, Alec always fell for it. As expected, he looked at me apologetically and said, "Erin, I have to go to the hospital. Tessa has no family here. Please wait for me. Do not leave. I mean it. Just wait." I gently pulled my hand from his grip. "Go, she needs you more than I do." Alec looked at me for a long moment, then turned and left without hesitation. It was a scene I had watched play out far too many times. Tessa would always find some excuse or emergency to draw him away, and Alec would always fall for it. I used to get angry, I used to cry, but now, I simply felt relieved. After picking up a bottle of water from the nearby shop, I returned to the hotel and went to bed early. At 2 a.m., I woke up, got ready, and headed for the airport. Before I left, I checked my phone. Alec had sent a message, "Please wait for me, do not go. Things are complicated on Tessa's side, and I have to stay with her. Just rest at the hotel for now. I will talk to you face to face once I get back. Whatever you do, do not fly home alone. I promise I will be there in no more than an hour." But an hour later, the plane was already in the air. Same old promises. Same sweet nothings. I had heard them all before. This time, I did not bother to play along. I went straight to the airport. Just as I was about to board, my phone rang. It was Alec. He launched right in with the same tone he always used when trying to control things. "Erin, where are you? I told you to wait for me. Why are you not at the hotel?" Then his voice grew sharp. "Do not tell me you ignored my messages. Tessa was in a car accident. Do you really expect me to leave her and run to you?" He paused for a breath, then quickly added, "Forget it. I checked. You have not boarded yet. Just wait at the airport. I will come get you." I saw the boarding line moving forward. I replied flatly, "No need. I am getting on the plane now." I hung up before he could say anything else. I could still hear him calling my name as the call ended. I could not help but feel a little amused. If he truly wanted to keep me from leaving, he would have come long ago. Why wait until now? It was not that I still had feelings for him. I was just sick of his insincerity. 4 hours later, the plane landed. My parents were already waiting outside the airport to pick me up. I had not seen them in such a long time. My mother had more lines on her face, and my father's back was noticeably stooped. My nose tingled with emotion. I had fought with them so many times over Alec. So many harsh words, so many slammed doors. My father and I had even stopped speaking. And yet, in the end, it was my parents who welcomed me home. I quickly wiped my tears and hurried over to greet them with a smile. My mother reached out to wipe her own tears and gave me a light slap on the arm. "You little rascal, you finally came back." Then we returned to the family villa together. My grandfather was already waiting at the door. He did not scold me, he just smiled and said warmly, "It is enough that you are home." After finishing our first reunion dinner, I returned to my room and immediately noticed that my phone was flooded with missed calls from Alec. Just as I was about to block his number, the phone started ringing again. When I answered, Alec's voice came through, hoarse and tired. "Erin, you really went back home?" I replied with a vague hum, trying not to engage. He continued quickly, "But I told you I would come back. I thought we could sit down and talk things through, even if I made mistakes. You should give me a chance to make it right. We have known each other for 7 years, been together for 5. How can you be this heartless?" Alec always did this, turning every conversation into guilt and blame. I had no patience left, so I cut him off. "Alec, we are already broken up. Could you please stop bothering me?" There was a long silence on the other end. I could hear nothing but the faint sound of him smoking, drawing breath after breath. In all the years we had been together, this might have been the harshest thing I had ever said to him. Even I was stunned by my own words. Alec recovered quickly, his voice turned sharp and restless. I do not care, I do not agree to this breakup, it is not happening. I am only giving you 3 days, after that, you are coming back. If you don't, I will come and find you. You figure out what you want to do. He hung up. I frowned. This did not feel like Alec. Based on everything I knew about him, he had never cared this much. Especially now, when Tessa had just been in a car accident, he would never willingly leave her side. Still, I pushed the thought aside. For the next 3 days, my father encouraged me to relax and unwind at home before stepping into the family business. I spent my time shopping with my mom, catching up over tea with old friends. Life felt easy and full again. One afternoon, as we sat at a cafe, one of my childhood friends sighed and said, "Erin, life would have been so much better if you had come back earlier. Why did you insist on staying out there, putting yourself through all that?" Her words mirrored what I had come to realize deep down. All those years, I had forced myself to endure a life that brought me nothing but pain. But thankfully, I had finally woken up. The good part of life was still ahead. One day, while I was playing chess with my grandfather, he smiled and told me he wanted to introduce me to someone. The young man was the grandson of one of his old military friends and was living right here in River City. He would be coming by today. "Forget that last guy you were with," Grandpa said with a chuckle. "This young man is far better looking than your ex." I had no interest in romance at the moment, but I also could not bring myself to reject Grandpa's kindness. I told him that if the young man came by, we could meet as friends. While we were still chatting, one of the house staff rushed in and said, "Miss Erin, there's someone named Alec here asking to see you." Alec, I had tried so hard these past 3 days to erase that name from my mind, but hearing it out loud again sent a strange flutter through my chest. He actually came all the way to River City to find me. I was about to tell the staff to say I was not home, but Grandpa spoke up with a gentle smile. "Erin, if something needs to be ended, it is best to end it clearly." His words made me pause. He was right. If Alec had come this far, it was better to speak face to face and bring closure to all of this. I stepped outside and immediately saw him. Alec, standing under a tall tree in a white button-down shirt, hands behind his back, a laptop bag slung over his shoulder. For a moment, it was as if time had turned back. He looked exactly like he had when we first met. I stood there in a daze, feeling the stir of long-buried memories, but it only lasted a second. 5 years of one-sided devotion, 5 years of swallowing my pride. Those left deeper scars than any fond memory could cover. I remembered clearly how I once pleaded with him to wear that white shirt again, just once, because it reminded me of when we first met, but Alec had rolled his eyes and snapped, "Erin, are you a child? That is the shirt I hate the most." After that, I never dared bring it up again. After all this time, Alec helped me into this dress again, but now, it no longer meant anything. From a distance, I heard Alec calling out, "Erin." He jogged toward me, but the face that once held boyish charm was no longer the same. Time had changed him, and so had we. He reached for my hand, but I quickly pulled away. A flicker of disappointment crossed his face. He tried to coax me with a soft voice, still upset. "Come on, do not be mad. I came all the way here to see you." Then, with a bit of excitement, he added, "Guess what I brought you." He reached into his bag and, with an air of mystery, pulled out a limited edition collectible doll. "Do you like it?" I was surprised. Yes, but not touched. What I felt was more bittersweet than joy. So he had known all along the kind of things I liked. He simply chose not to care. I remembered a time when we had gone shopping together. I bought Alec piles of clothes and gifts without hesitation. As we passed a shop window, I spotted a set of collectible dolls I had wanted for ages. The full set cost around $2,000, but Alec had frowned and stopped me. "Even Tessa does not waste money on this kind of stuff," he said coldly. "You are too old to be playing with toys." Then he added with irritation, "All you ever do is focus on these pointless things. Why not save that money to support my business plans instead?" I had not dared to argue. I just nodded, quietly shelving my own interests, and never again bought another figure while he was around. Now, finally, he was giving me one as a gift, but it no longer brought me happiness. It was too late. When I made no move to accept it, Alec frowned. "What is wrong?" I replied softly. I do not like them anymore. Alec was taken aback. His expression faltered. He tried to recover, forcing a smile. Then tell me what you like now. I will get it for you. If this had been the old me, his gesture would have melted my anger. I would have forgiven everything. But not now. That time had passed, I said gently. It is fine. You should go back. Tessa is still at the hospital, right? You should take care of her. I meant nothing by it. Just said what I thought he was probably feeling himself, but Alec's face suddenly clouded over. His tone changed, the humble act dropping away. Erin, do you have to talk like that? You have no idea how exhausting this is for me. I already told you, there is nothing going on between me and Tessa. Why do you keep doubting me? I even left her alone at the hospital just to come see you. What more do you want? I stayed calm and met his eyes. Then do not waste your time. Go back. Alec looked stunned, and then angry. Erin, are you done yet? If you keep acting like this, I swear I will go back and be with Tessa. I will leave you for good. I looked at him and said plainly, well then, congratulations. I turned to walk away. That was when Alec suddenly panicked. He grabbed my arm and hurried to explain. Wait, that is not what I meant. Just then, a clear voice called from outside. Excuse me, is this the Clark residence? I turned around and saw someone familiar. Brian Pierce, the young man I had met at a gathering through my friend Wendy. I shook off Alec's hand and walked over to greet Brian. That was when I found out. He was the one my grandfather had been trying to introduce to me. What a coincidence. I smiled and said, come on in. My grandfather was just talking about you. Brian nodded politely, but his eyes soon shifted to Alec, who stood stiffly off to the side. His face tight with frustration, like someone nursing an invisible wound. If this had been before, I would have run to comfort Alec, tried to make him smile again. I would have been afraid of upsetting him. But now, I felt nothing at all. I knew this was just another one of his tricks to get my attention. So I walked past Alec with Brian by my side, not even glancing in Alec's direction. Only when we reached the front door did I hear Alec call out behind us, his voice laced with desperation. Erin, I did not turn back. I smiled at Brian and led him inside. I brought Brian to meet my grandfather. The three of us chatted for a while, and then Grandpa, as thoughtful as ever, found an excuse to leave us alone. But now that we were just the two of us, I felt a bit awkward. After all, both times I had unpleasant encounters with Alec, Brian happened to witness them. That kind of thing would probably make any man uncomfortable. Brian was the first to break the silence. He asked gently, earlier, it seemed like Mr. Rhodes was truly trying to win you back. Do you think you will change your mind at the dinner party? My friends had shared quite a few stories about Alec and me, half drunk and sentimental, and Brian had heard it all. I shook my head and replied, some things cannot be undone. What is spilled cannot be gathered again. Brian looked at me for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled. He said, time changes everything, people included. When love ends, it can also be the beginning of something new. I did not quite grasp the full meaning of his words, but the way he looked at me, it was soft, almost tender. After a bit more small talk, I took Brian for a walk around the garden outside the villa. We both seemed to understand without saying it. We would not mention Alec again. Our conversation flowed easily, drifting from one topic to another, light and pleasant. But just as I began to relax, my phone rang. The harmony between us was broken. To my surprise, it was Tessa calling. The moment I picked up, her voice came through, filled with anger. Erin, what did you do to Alec? She snapped. He went to Rivertown looking for you, and now no one can reach him. He loves you so much, and even if you don't love him anymore, you do not have to hurt him like this. You heartless woman, she shouted into the phone, her accusations coming like knives. But what struck me was one sentence. Alec had gone missing. We had only been apart for 3 hours. He was a grown man with a phone. It was impossible for something serious to have happened so quickly. I hung up, not bothering to listen to the rest of Tessa's rant. But as night fell and the clock crept past midnight, I came across something unexpected. Tessa had posted a missing person alert on her social media feed, and it had not been deleted. I stared at the screen, unsure what to believe. At that moment, I received a message from Brian. He wrote, "Do you need help finding Mr. Rhodes?" I remembered what Grandpa once told me. Brian's family had strong connections, and they were known for getting things done quickly. Alec and I may have ended, and the feelings were gone, but after being together for so many years, I still did not want to see him in trouble. So I said yes and asked Brian to help, but not even 30 minutes later, I stumbled across a new post. This time from Tessa and Alec together. They had officially announced their relationship online. In the photo, they were in an airport lounge, locked in a warm embrace, their fingers intertwined. The caption read, "I will always wait right here for you to turn around, to the man I love most." I stared at the image, unsure what to feel: disgust, irony, pity. All I knew was, it was laughable, and maybe a little pathetic. I immediately sent Brian a message to apologize. I told him not to bother looking anymore. Alec had already gone back. Brian said nothing in return, but I could not help feeling like I had been played. Again, it was not the first time. In the past, whenever I upset Alec, he would punish me with lies. Once, he pretended to be sick just to make me suffer. He told me he had a fever and needed breakfast from his favorite spot, 30 kilometers away. I rushed through a rainstorm to get it for him. By the time I returned, drenched and shivering, I fell sick myself. He sneered and said, "You are really that gullible. I said I was sick and you believed me. Why did you not just look at me and see for yourself?" Thinking back on it now, I wished I could go back in time and slap myself. I had been too humble, too willing to throw away my dignity. But that was the last time. After that night, I returned to my normal life. I thought Alec would finally disappear from my world, but a few days later, I received a call from his friend, Sam. He said, "Erin, are you still mad? That post Alec made with Tessa, he only did it because he was angry with you. You did not really believe it, did you?" I let out a small laugh. "Sam, Alec and I have been over for a long time. Do you really think any of this still matters to me?" Sun Chong choked for a moment, then gave an awkward laugh as he tried to smooth things over between Alec and me. He repeated the usual phrases, saying how many years we had been together, how hard it had been, and that Alec had not meant to hurt me. But I only responded with vague nods and half-hearted smiles. My attitude remained indifferent from start to finish. Eventually, he stopped talking. Then, from the other room, came the unmistakable sound of a door being slammed shut. I knew right away. Alec had been eavesdropping again. Over the next few days, I began to notice a strange pattern. My social media feed was suddenly flooded with updates about Alec and Tessa, photos of the two of them out on dates, posts about the meals Tessa had lovingly prepared for him, smiling selfies in familiar spots, and all of it came from mutual friends who once knew me as Alec's partner. But I stayed quiet, unmoved. I poured my focus into taking over the family business and continued getting to know Brian, who had become a steady presence in my life. Then, about a month later, Alec sent me a long, rambling message. It read like a heartfelt letter, tracing every detail of our relationship, from the first day we met to where we stood now. He laid bare all his emotions, his regrets, his realizations, but I never read the whole thing. I simply did not have the time, or the energy. A few days after that, Alec did something even more dramatic. He flew across the country, came straight to my office, and waited outside all night in the middle of a torrential rainstorm. When he saw me the next morning, he rushed toward me and wrapped his arms around me tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. "Erin," he cried out, his voice raw and broken. "Why do you never get angry? No matter what I do, you love me. I know you do. I do not know what else to do. I am lost. Tell me what I need to do so you will forgive me. Please." I gently pushed him away, putting space between us. Then I said quietly, "Because I do not love you anymore, Alec. If you truly want my forgiveness, then please, do not ever appear in my life again." Without looking back, I stepped past him and walked toward Brian, who was waiting for me in the distance. Later, as I drove Brian to our date, we passed by Alec. He was still standing there in the pouring rain, screaming at the sky in a fit of despair. His cries were filled with the agony of someone who had lost something he finally realized was irreplaceable, but that same feeling, of helplessness, of silent heartbreak, I had lived with, little by little, for 5 long years. Now, at last, my night was over, the morning had come, and I was walking into a new day, hand in hand with someone who truly loved me. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.